television network TSPN. And now TSPN News with Tom Slivick. Comprehensive news because in today's world, you need more than just sound bites. TSPN streaming on the World Wide Web and now on demand at tspntv.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Tom Slivick and welcome to today's News in Depth. And on Mondays, the day before Board of Supervisors, we're usually lucky to have Richard Forster here with us. And once again, we do have Richard Forster.
Hi, Tom.
How's it going?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. So you weathered the storm at home?
Oh yeah, we had a wet weekend, but you know what? It's nice to see the streams running. A little bit of damage, I guess. Sutter Creek and Jackson had some. I know our county administrative center suffered some damage. Our staff, I can't blame them. They did their due diligence on Friday before the storms really hit, cleaned out everything, but you know, some of the upper pipes had some debris in it, and it came down and plugged up some of the gutters on the balconies, and because of that we have some pretty significant damage. But if you go over there now, other than ceiling tiles that are taken off, you really can't tell too much. They're doing a great job cleaning it up with the help of some outside resources.
Okay, that's great. So why don't we go ahead and get into the agenda for tomorrow?
All right, we'll have Mr. Bob Sleppy in again. Bob is with Facilities Planning and Management with CDCR, and this is regarding the infill project and the supplemental environmental impact report that is being done on the infill site's secondary effluent spray field enhancement measures. So what this is because of the change to what they stated in their original environmental impact report and what they told Board of Supervisors and everybody else they were going to do was go into a regional approach with City of Ione for a number of reasons, cost being one of the biggest factors. They're not going to do that now. Going with Ione, they said was going to cost between $5 and $7 million. If they utilize their own spray fields, that's going to cost $2.5, $3 million. That depends how much they get assessed more monetary penalties by different departments in the state. You see, one department of our state is feeding on another department. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife made them do a study, made CDCR do a study for red-legged frogs. There are no red-legged frogs. They don't come down this low. But Fish and Wildlife said, well, there could be. That'll be $2.5 million.
I thought we gave quite a lot of territory to the red-legged frog.
Yeah, but you know, they did all the studies definitively. There are no frogs down here.
They basically have the Sierras from here to Los Angeles, don't they?
So you have one department of the state soaking another department for $2.5 million because of these additional spray fields that they're going to have to put in. They're probably going to come up with something else that's going to be in the $1 million range again, $million+ range again. It's the way our state works now, and instead of departments working cooperatively, you have one department.
Is this slowing the project down at all?
Is what?
Is this slowing the project down at all?
Oh, it would have slowed it down significantly. So basically, they were held hostage because they are on a pretty firm deadline. They have to be done in about a year. Okay. If they had fought that process, it would have really extended the timeline out, so they decided they'll just pay the blackmail money to Fish and Wildlife. Okay. So they did that, and I'm taking that from the department personnel who told me that. Okay. So Mr. Sleppy's going to be talking about this project. This is, and he'll do a full PowerPoint, but they're creating new spray fields. They're going to rehabilitate some of the existing spray fields that were taken out, so they could put in a road and different things, a temporary transportation road. They're going to supposedly put that back into place. They had a scoping session in Ione last Thursday evening, which all of 2 people attended, myself and one other gentleman. But we had them put it on, and it didn't take very long, but we asked questions and we put comments into the record. The county has already met with CDCR and told them our concerns. Mike Israel from Environmental Health has concerns about the concentration of different elements that would be a repeat of what happened previously. Now, they've said they're doing a $7-8 million improvement of their existing treatment facility. That will help mitigate some of these issues. But Mike is concerned because you utilizing spray field that appears to be less, although Mr. Sleppy now says it's more, it will be more than what they had before. So we'll see. I mean, where's the real story?
Okay.
What I told them in public comment last week were Mike's concerns about elements that will super concentrate. ARSA has a concern because some of the new spray field that they're designing is adjacent to the Preston Reservoir. Well, ARSA uses the Preston Reservoir, and we get charged for what goes into that reservoir. So if there are spray fields adjacent to it, you can imagine there's going to be some seepage and infiltration causing their flows to come into play. Now, they said also in the meeting last week, they have that figured out where they can monitor the amounts. You know, the only problem I have with CDCR is they change their story so much. You have to keep following it, but my comments last week were relative to some of their language here that, you know, we really can't believe what you say. It's got to be down on paper so that everybody can see it, plain as day, what's going to happen. Even in their description of the proposed enhancement measures, that's all they say, proposed enhancement measures, and they say, well, evaluate and potentially modify portions of the remaining secondary effluent spray field. That I told them twice now in meetings, that's not good enough. Potentially,
so the details in the details, or the devil's in the details here, and getting everything down on paper
That's
for
right.
the county. Is that it?
It's got to be down on paper so that people can hold them accountable.
Okay.
But proposed, potential, may happen, might happen is not good enough. And I told them just flat out, that's not good enough. We need it down on paper. If you're going to do it, it needs to be there. If you're not going to do it, then don't call it a proposed. So we don't want to know what might happen, because every time CDCR says it might happen, it doesn't happen. And the county ended up in litigation, and I also told them that. We don't want to end up in litigation again. It's costly for you and costly for us. So we need some guarantees. We don't need some potentials. Anyway,
All right.
that'll happen tomorrow. Also on Tuesday, we'll look at the CUPA and inspection and enforcement plans. Mike Israel ran this by the Land Use Committee. Basically, this is just some cleanup of language that's in the codes right now, and there's no substantial changes to the CUPA program other than it actually makes it easier for people to comply, but it takes out some things in the CUPA program that...
Can you let people know rather quickly what the CUPA program is once again? For
Certified Unified Program Administrator. I can't even know, don't even know what the A is now. I forgot it now. But Certified Unified Program, and what it does basically is it looks at hazardous materials, release programs like on gas pumps. It looks at what people have stored at their business sites.
Right.
Let's say even a ranch. If a ranch has 5 50-gallon tubs of oil there, that's a hazardous material. You just need to know where it is. It's not a big deal.
A lot of that is for rescue personnel and firefighters. Is that correct?
Well, any EMS
To be able to
personnel
know
that go in.
what's there and what the hazards are.
Right, they need to know where that is, because if there's a fire, if fire personnel go in and there is a fire, it'd be nice to know where your propane tanks are and things like that, so when they blow up, nobody gets killed. But it also covers the underground tanks, the above ground tanks, the hazardous materials plans that are required, accidental release programs.
This has been a long time in the making as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, and this is another regulatory program. Some people look at it as just more government intrusion. I do see some benefits here. If you look at it that you're going to be helping to protect our emergency services personnel when they go on site. Now, the catch is, as long as they have access to that material, it doesn't do any good to drive in if you don't have the plan there that says where are things located, so that you know you're not walking into a bombshell.
Okay, all right.
So that shouldn't be a big deal. We're going to have quite a few items that Supervisor and Chairman of the Board, Oneto, proposed. One is the RCRC report, the Rural County Representatives of California. He's got a report on legislation. A couple of big pieces of legislation coming our way are marijuana, of course. The City of Ione's dealing with that now, but we know there's probably going to be an initiative on the ballot in a couple of years. The big ones, public health, water, and just to name a few, healthcare, Indian gaming. They're still trying to grapple with the special distribution fund. to figure out how to get money back in that may be mitigated by things like the compact that may be approved, that Jackson Ranch Re and the administration and the governor just looked at. Supervisor Ornette will also cover the federal omnibus spending bill and interior appropriations. Fortunately, the EPA is another area, but they did not allot enough money for EPA to go into the waters of the U.S. program that they want to do and implement that.
So that has been slowed down or
been slowed down by our Congress, and you can thank our Congress because the President and the administration are sure not going to slow down on that. They want as much rules and regulations in place as possible. We don't need the changes in the definition that they're doing to the waters of the U.S. It would make it pretty much unbearable for everyone.
Let me ask you a question. This is kind of quick, but it says Tom McClintock's committee involved with this?
Yeah, the whole Congress is involved.
Because he's the chairman of Waterways. Right?
They'll all have a piece of the pie on this thing, but basically he's going to talk about the amount of money that's coming down the pipeline for these different programs through Interior, the payment in lieu of taxes, the Secure Rural Schools programs. As you know, Secure Rural Schools was not reauthorized, so it went from about $300 billion down to 50, and
25 seconds.
Okay, and we're not looking very healthy there, but we can talk about that when we get back. The board will have a couple of letters, one regarding the PELT, or the payment in lieu of taxes program, and another regarding the Secure Rural Schools when you come back.
Okay. All right, so we're talking to Supervisor Richard Forster, discussing the upcoming agenda, and we'll be right back after this.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.